Once upon a time, there was a princess. She lived among the planets in the starry sky. She had the most magnificent wings, all the colors of the rainbow, which carried her from star to star. She flew back and forth and all around the universe. This was her playground. Once, as she was soaring by Neptune, she heard a big bang. It was so loud it frightened her, and she fell to the nearest planet. She drew her wings around her. She breathed in and out and in and out until her heart stopped racing. The quiet returned. A starry quiet. She looked around her. All the planets seemed in place. But suddenly, a new sound reached her ears. It was faint at first, so she closed her eyes to really concentrate and listen. As she did, she felt a tingle in her right palm. A magnificent orb appeared in her hand, a whirling sphere. It was Earth. The princess looked down at the orb. This is where the sound was coming from. It grew louder and louder. She listened closely. It was a cry. She peered into the orb, and what she saw took a moment to comprehend. Inside the orb, standing at the edge of an island, was a figure, a lone figure, its arms outstretched. It was calling to the princess. She held the orb a little closer to hear better. There seemed to be fire sparks coming from its fingers and all around its feet.
I have summoned all the energies of my brothers and sisters. I stand at the edge of this island to ask for your help. It is Gaia. She is sick, and we need you.
Who is Gaia?
Gaia is our mother. She is the mother of the earth, and she is not well. Listen, and you will hear her weeping.
The princess drew the orb even closer to listen carefully. She heard a different sound, the sound of a great splash.
That is the sound of Gaia's tears. She is weeping, and we cannot make her stop. So many tears are filling our world, and we cannot make them stop.
The princess saw Gaia crouching and weeping. She saw that Gaia was pregnant. The tears fell from Gaia's eyes, and her pain filled the princess's ears. She felt sad. Gaia is pregnant.
Gaia is always pregnant, but she is afraid. She is afraid for her new creation, as so many of her others are dying, and so she weeps.
As the princess watched and spoke more to the lone figure, a strange feeling came over her. It seemed that she was being pulled into this wondrous orb, as if Earth was calling her. She looked around the universe, her playground, and said goodbye. She felt a rushing breeze in her hair. She travelled fast, and when she landed, she looked around. It was dusty, and she was smaller, much, much smaller. Even her wings. Never before had she been smaller than the moon. Some of her feathers had come loose, so she gathered a few and placed them in her hair. Some little figures approached her. They made her necklaces. They told her they were called children. They laughed and ran on. After they had gone, she knelt on the dusty yellow earth. She closed her eyes once again and listened. And when she was sure which way to travel, she set off on her journey to find Gaia. The yellow moon shone brightly. The princess opened out her wings to soar a little above the dusty paths. She ran a little, then flew a little. As she was journeying, she saw hundreds, if not thousands, of figures. They were making the same sound as Gaia. Tears were falling from their eyes. The princess spoke to two embracing figures. They asked her who she was.
I am the princess of the universe, on my way to help Gaia. Who are you?
I am the hunter, and I have nothing to hunt. I am the gatherer, and I have nothing to gather. Gaia is sick.
Which way will I go to find her?
Yes, princess, follow that path to the north, over the ocean. Look for the scholar. It is the scholar to whom you must speak.
The princess thanked the hunter and the gatherer and set on her path to see the scholar. The princess flew north. She passed over the ocean and landed on an island. She walked for a bit. After some time she came across a grey stone column which seemed to go all the way up to the moon. She flew up to the top, and seated there was the scholar. The scholar was reading.
What are you doing?
The scholar did not even look up.
I am trying to find the answer to Gaia's sickness.
How are you getting on?
I am afraid I am stuck, but I must read on. How can I help you?
I am looking for Gaia.
Oh, my mind is quite sore. Go and speak to the soldier. You will find him near the Red River. His red heart is in his hand. If you listen very carefully, you will hear him calling from this history book.
The princess looked at the book the scholar was reading, and as he had said, the words on the page started to jump out at her, giving her directions to the soldier. After flying for some time, the princess looked down and saw a figure kneeling, surrounded by the Red River. It was the soldier. He raised his arm and called to her. She soared downwards until she was close to the soldier.
Oh, don't come any closer. I have been waiting to speak with you. I hold this red heart in my hand. This river is made of millions and millions of hearts. It is the key. It is the key to Gaia's sickness. The Red River is hurting her skin. The river must stop, but instead it gets wider and deeper. It flows on. Princess, I have little time left to speak with you. My heart must join the Red River. My sight is fading. I'm tired. You must go to the elders and speak with them. Listen to me. Listen. Travel south to the Red Island. Follow the river. There you will find them. Thank you.
With these final words, the soldier slipped into the river. The princess watched as his heart floated away. She watched the river flow. It stretched north and south, and some of it flowed east and west. It was vast, and it was deep. She followed it south to seek the elders. She found the red island and started to walk slowly. She was a little tired after all her travelling. Ahead of her was a gathering. It was the elders. As she came closer, one of them turned and looked over his shoulder.
We are all afraid. We are having a final gathering to call on the universe to help us. No one has listened to us. Now Gaia is very sick. Come and join us.
The princess walked slowly over to the circle of elders and sat down. Another elder turned and looked at the princess.
I know who you are, princess. If you can help us, join in our circle. We will tell you all that has happened.
The princess nodded. Much time passed as the elders told the princess their stories. They lit a fire and they recounted Gaia's story. One elder closed her eyes and started singing. The princess noticed all the other elders in the circle closing their eyes too. So she followed suit and closed hers. The music was magical. As the elders sang, the princess could see pictures. She opened her eyes for a moment, and even the flames of the fire were making pictures. Another elder took over the song. This elder looked straight at the princess. The princess felt the elder's stare. She opened her eyes and looked deep into this elder's eyes. The princess peered into the left eye.
This is Gaia's father, that you see. He wants you to help. Now, princess, look into the right eye.
The princess looked into the right eye.
This is Gaia's mother, that you see. She has come to listen to the elder's song. They are present with us. They welcome you, and now will guide you to Gaia.
The song continued. The princess sang out. When she finished, the elders were gone. Kneeling in front of her was Gaia. She was still pregnant.
I have been making wishes to the universe, and now my wish has been answered, as you have come to help me, little princess.
Then Gaia felt a pain. She lay down. She told the princess that when she was younger, she was full of ripeness and bore many creations. She was a happy mother of the earth. Gaia finished her story, and with one push, gave birth. When the princess looked at the new creation, its eyes were closed. It was falling away from Gaia. Gaia tried to catch it, but the new creation was out of her reach. Gaia began to weep again. Her tears turned to flowers, and she buried her newborn in a fragrance of petals and leaves.
It is near. My final moments are nearing. And I have buried my last creation. I am pregnant no more.
Gaia's breath grew more shallow. She was very weak. The princess knelt beside her, put her wings around her, and kissed her.
They have started. The final days. Little princess. You are the only one who can help now.
As Gaia said this, there was a deafening, crashing sound. The princess flew away with fright and hid beneath her wings. When she peered out from behind her feathers, she saw Gaia, lying very still. All of Earth looked on, all of Gaia's creations, all despairing, all clung to each other. The princess watched it all, every living thing. The sky turned to fire, and the red river grew into a red ocean. There were cries and screams. The yellow moon disappeared, and more hearts fell from the flames into the red ocean.
It is just as befell the soldier's heart. Oh.
Children watched and waited. The princess flew for days through the burning skies, over the red ocean, until she was so weak and tired that she eventually had to stop. She found a small space and lay down. Her tired wings were scratched and torn. She closed her eyes and fell asleep. She heard a heart beating. It was the heart of the earth. The heart grew weaker, and the final beats rang out until it stopped. All was still and silent. The children, all figures, all creation stilled. The princess saw all this, and from deep within her came a gentle lament for Gaia. She sang and she sang for such a long time. She sang of the sea and the fish within it. She sang of the trees. She sang of the animals. She sang of the flowers. She sang of the birds. She sang of the children. She sang of creation. She sang and she sang of Gaia and all that she was, until at last she could sing no more. She let the last note ring out, and then she wept, red river tears. Galisoa, the great gatekeeper, appeared in front of the princess. The princess had only heard of Galisoa from her twin brother, the prince, but never believed the great gatekeeper existed.
I can tell you know who I am, little princess.
I do.
So? You know that I am the great gatekeeper of great secrets.
I do.
I heard your song, and so I am here to guide you. It is not too late to help Gaia. All is not lost. For I have seen many things and know much. This is not the end, princess, but the beginning of the new world. Hold out your hand, and I will give you the knowledge. I will be sending Pacifica, the queen, to you.
Then she disappeared. The princess looked down at her right hand, which was filled with knowledge, and smiled. When she looked up, Pacifica, the queen, stood in front of her. Pacifica had travelled from Mercury to help the princess.
Have you seen my brother the prince?
Yes. He is well and flying in your playground. You will be back there too, after we have helped Gaia to breathe again.
The queen opened her left palm, and inside it there were swirling silver spheres. They were so beautiful. Everything about Pacifica was beautiful. She was queen of a beautiful planet, and her beauty was legendary throughout the universe. She placed one of the silver spheres on the princess's forehead. The princess heard the beating of many, many wings. The sky was full of flying creatures.
These are the Mercurian Tomsti. They will fly to every corner of the earth and search for survivors.
The princess noticed her own wings had been fixed. No longer were they torn and burnt. They were magnificent again and full of life. She flapped them and turned to Pacifica.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Now, we have much work to do.
And with that, the two of them joined the flock of Mercurian Tomsti in the sky. The flock searched and found many survivors from the final days. They were weak, badly injured, and barely breathing. All were wounded. The survivors were frightened, but the flock of Mercurian Tomsti took great care as they carried them to the new world. In the new world, the Mercurian Tomsti nursed and cared for the wounded.
Now, princess, the survivors will be able to grow back their Gaian wings. They had them before, in the beginning, when Gaia was young, before the red river flowed. Look, that one. See how the scars are fading and the buds of wings are growing.
The princess watched as more and more survivors became stronger and grew up towards the new sun. They looked so graceful. Finally, all the survivors grew back their Gaian wings.
Once, all the sea and land creatures had wings. The figures had wings, and they were called homogenals, the original human.
Now these are the new homogenals. In the new world, what will they do?
Now, they are strong. They will fly back to Earth and see what is left after the final days. They will see what they can use here.
I have heard that what they miss most is the air that they breathe. You know, some have already come back, flown, and collected air bubbles. There is a homogenal playing with one now.
They must fly back and collect as much pure air as they can find. Then they can grow the oxyfernica. This plant will grow from the air bubbles and feed and nourish them. Look over there, princess. Look at that tall female homogenal looking straight at us. She still carries some scars from the old world. She carries a heart, a wounded heart, in memory of the red ocean.
Yes, but see how strong her wings are, Pacifica.
Then the tall homogenal tiptoed away, and with one leap joined the other flying homogenals in the sky, who were flying back to collect more air. Even the animals that survived the final days grew back their wings.
How magnificent these creatures are.
Yes. This flam claratio is exquisite. See how all the family are together as one creature. The mother, father, and little ones, all together.
I miss my family.
Soon the new world will be thriving, and the Mercurian Tomsty and I will return home. You too will return to your playground in the universe.
Yes, I will.
Time passed. The homogenals grew stronger. They collected as much air from the old world as they could. They carried these air bubbles in their mouths, then dived into the rainbow swamps. Here they opened their mouths and the bubbles came out. These bubbles were nourished by the pure rainbow swamps and the new sun. All over the new world were these rainbow swamps, hundreds of thousands of them. When the air bubbles had fertilized, out of the bubble grew the oxyfernica, the food that would nourish the new population. The new homogenals were a noble race and kept vigil over their swamps. This is the oxyfernica. It grows all over the new world. It feeds and it nourishes all. The new homogenals found alternative ways of fertilizing the air bubbles and so created various other foods. They were happy. They spent their time playing in their paradise. The new sun shone. Pacifica and the princess looked over the new world. Pacifica turned to the princess and said it was time for her to leave. She summoned the Mercurian Tomsty, and she took from her palm another swirling silver sphere and placed it on the princess's forehead.
Now you will always remember me, princess. I am in here forever. If ever you need my help again, I will know. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Queen.
She watched as the flock of Mercurian Tomsty took to the sky one last time. The princess watched as they disappeared from her sight. She stood for some time until a remarkable sound reached her ears. It was a familiar sound, a voice, one she recognized. The princess turned around. It was Gaia.
You did not die.
I did not. Because of you, little princess. You saved me.
You are pregnant again.
I am. And I have been very busy, spreading seeds in our new world. This is the biggest that I have ever been.
The princess touched Gaia's giant, pregnant belly and felt the heartbeats of new creations within.
I too have my wings back. It is all thanks to you. Now there is the new world and the oxyfernicus can grow. The rainbow swamps are healthy. The homogenals and all the creatures are happy in this paradise. Thank you. It is time for you to go back to your playground and see your brother, the prince.
Gaia took to the sky and flapped her beautiful wings. A warm breeze filled the air. The princess opened out her wings, and the warm breeze carried her away. She travelled upwards towards the new sun. She flew through it, then on over the yellow moon, which had reappeared, onwards, through the rainbows, until she saw the stars and the planets. There was Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, Mars and Mercury, Saturn and Jupiter, Venus, the asteroid belt. There were some new stars the princess could not wait to explore. She was bigger now, much bigger. Even her wings were bigger. She was home in her playground, the universe. As she was jumping from star to star, she saw her twin brother, the prince, who rushed to greet her. It was then she realized she was missing something. Well, she looked down at her right palm and remembered Earth had once been there. She stopped and knelt down on a planet. The prince knelt beside her. A new sound reached their ears. It was faint at first, so they closed their eyes to really concentrate and listen. As they did, the princess felt a tingle in her right palm. A magnificent orb appeared in her hand, a whirling sphere. It was paradise.